Hello everybody. Well, it's April 2023 in New England, and we're getting ready to open the Garden Railroad, and so we splurged and we bought ourselves from the Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends universe, Emily, and Emily's coach and Emily's brake coach. Now we bought all three pieces from Train World, and as of April 2023, the prices were $279.99 for Emily, $74.99 for Emily's coach, and again $74.99 for Emily's brake coach. Okay, so as you can see here, with all three pieces on the table, we're a little bit stressed for space up there. So we're going to go ahead and start unboxing the coaches, and we'll start with Emily's coach. As usual on these large-scale Thomas the Tank Engine and Universe stock here, the box itself isn't factory taped shut, so he could open that right up. And as usual with these large-scale Thomas the Tank Engine Universe rolling stock and locomotives, they're packed in a nice styrofoam shell there with a little piece of cellophane that is taped over it, and then they're packed inside that styrofoam, wrapped in some plastic and some tissue paper on the roof. The set also comes with some extra couplers, and it also comes with a coupler height adjustment adapter. We've never used those because they're usually pretty good right out of the box for us, but they're there and available if needed. That's a fine looking coach. It's got some running boards on it, nice color green, a lot of good detail. See, give you a quick look, and we'll get everything unboxed before we take our detailed view. Oh, look at that, the roof comes off. Learn something new every day. So that is Emily's coach. Okay, so next up is Emily's brake coach. And the one thing I just want to point out here real quick is that the packaging is slightly different. We think the bottom one is probably older stock there, the box that says Deluxe Rolling Stock. You notice at the top box there, this is typical of Bachmann. They refer to their G scale as large scale. So you should be able to see that right on the top corner there. But yeah, we're sure that the coaches are, I'm sure, fine, even though they're in different packaging, but just something to pick out. Okay, so Emily came with the same coupling and coupler adapter pack there, and it also came with some instructions that tell you how to change the couplers and how to use the coupler adapters or height adapters. And also Emily's coach that we just unboxed a second ago also came with that instruction pack as well. And we'll take a detailed look at these and go through the details, but here's just a quick view. Roof comes off of that one too. All right, those are nice looking coaches. Can't wait to take a closer look at them. All right, so next up on the table is Emily. Emily is huge. This is quite a big engine, taking up a lot of space on the table here. I don't know if we're going to be able to put Emily on the turntable or not, but we'll definitely take a close, detailed look. But anyway, let's get Emily unpackaged. So Emily also came with an instruction manual. It looks like, that looks like a more detailed one than the cars. Just kind of looking through the plastic, we can see that there's disassembly for the tender and so forth. We'll take a closer look at that to see what all comes with it. The little plastic on the front of the styrofoam housing there is actually a molded plastic, so this is quite well packaged. Kind of hard to figure out the best way to pull Emily out of the packaging here. Okay, and as per usual here, we got the little coupler set that comes with the rolling stock and the locomotives, little couplers, and also the coupler height adjusters. All right, there you have it. There's Emily unboxed. What a fantastic looking locomotive. It's quite long with the tender hooked up to the locomotive portion, but yeah, when they're separated, they're not too bad. We'll be able to do a detailed look with the turntable and all that with Emily. So so let's take a detailed look. Okay, so let's start off by taking a detailed look at Emily's coach. So Emily's coach is a 6-wheel clerestory coach, and Emily's coaches were given to her after she rescued Oliver. So taking a detailed look at the side here, you can see the 6 wheels, 3 on each side, of course. And working from bottom to top here, there's a nice set of running boards here that really add a lot of character to this coach. And then you can see some of the suspension here, some of the leaf springs, and some of the mechanics down here, which is quite nice. And then the wheels themselves are metal wheels, so those should sound quite nice on the track. The overall color of Emily is this nice green, and then there's some yellow pinstriping around the bottom of the carriage. There's some gold painted handles on the 4 doors, and then there's these recessed white features up here, which maybe they let in some kind of light or something like that in real life. There's a little bit of other detail here on the doors. There's this kind of oval shaped here, the hinges, and then you can see here the windows are different shapes. So the windows on the coach itself are these taller windows, and then the windows in the doors are these smaller windows. Here and here. So yeah, just a great looking coach. The color combination is really good. And then for the roof here on the side, you can see here it's a slightly arched or sloped roof. And then it's got this raised panel in the center, presumably for ventilation. And then you can see the green color carries into the inside part here of the raised area. And then there's some black feature here that presumably is the ventilation. But yeah, just a great looking coach. Let's give it a turn. Okay, so looking at the coach from the end, you can see here again the slight arch in the roof and then the raised panel there. And then down on the end here, you can see that there are some vertical bracings here. There's no real wood feature here on the end. It's just pretty flat plastic. And then that comes down to this black bumpers with a couple of buffers and a utility hook. And then, of course, the hook and loop coupler, which is pretty standard on all the G scale or large scale Bachmann, Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends Universe rolling stock and locomotives. All right, let's continue around. Okay, so this side here is identical to the opposite side, so there's really not a whole lot of new to go over. Just the great detail. You can see over here too, I didn't mention it on the other side, but there's there's some ventilation features here. I think the ventilation features above each door. Yeah, good, nice detail. And again, all of that nice mechanical work and those running boards down there. And let's give it another turn and let's look at the other end. And again, this end is identical to the opposite end here. You got the vertical bracing, you've got the arched roof here, hook and loop couplers, buffers, and a utility hook. And let's bring it around full circle. All right, let's take a look at the top side. As we said earlier, that roof actually comes off. It's just held on by friction. So actually there's a look at the inside too. The inside, there's no detail on the inside. It's all just green plastic. And then there's the roof. And like I said, the roof just fits on with some friction. There you go. Yeah, so the roof there is just kind of glossy black plastic. And then of course you got the raised feature there for the ventilation at the top of the carriage. Let's take a look at the bottom. Okay, so no real detail down here on the undercarriage here. Again, the detail is more appreciated from the side, but you can see the metal wheels right here. The metal wheels actually have a little white pinstriping around there, a little nice little accent around those. I don't know if on a railroad truck you'd call it rims, but yeah, that's a nice little detail. Looks nice. And then you've got your hook and loop coupler down here. I'm sure many of you are familiar with how these function. You got the centering spring. Yeah. Yep. So that's out in the Bachmann logoing down there in the part number, of course. So yeah, just to give you a look at that. Yeah, if I didn't mention it before, the coaches are 17 inches in length from coupler tip to coupler tip, just to give you an idea of how long they are. So yeah, so let's give it one more final spin. And there you have it, Emily's coach. Okay, so next up is Emily's brake coach. So the brake coach is also a 6-wheeled clerestory coach. And this one was given to Emily too, after rescuing Oliver. She got both coaches, right, from rescuing Oliver? Yeah. Yeah, that's great, great reward. So anyway, there's not too much different between this brake coach and Emily's coach. The real difference here is that there are 3 windows on each side that are whited over or painted white over. So otherwise, it's the exact same coach. So you've got the same details here, that beautiful green with that yellow pinstriping around here, the gold handles on the 4 doors, these recessed features up here. The recessed feature is kind of a nice detail. And again, 6 wheels, 6 metal wheels, running board, the black down here on the kind of the deck, or the running deck, I guess, if you will, and then the raised roof with the ventilation section up there, and then it's again slightly arched roof. Really the exact same coach as the one we just looked at, except for those white windows. So let's give it a turn. And again, the same thing on this coach here. You've got that vertical bracing, the framework around, and then you've got 4 vertical braces there. You've got that raised roof, curved roof there at the top, hook and loop coupler, a couple of buffers, and a utility hook. So let's carry it around. And this side here is an exact copy of the other side. Well, except for the fact that we have 4 blocked off windows here. Do we have 3 on the other side? Yeah, there's 3 kind of whited out windows, or frosted or fogged windows on the opposite side. There's 4 on this side, so this side is a little bit different than the other side. We still have the 4 doors with the gold handles painted. Otherwise, the features are the same. Nice running board there, metal wheels, of course, and yeah. Ventilated area up on the roof, nice detail. So let's continue around. Again, same as the other coach and the opposite end of this coach, we've got the 4 vertical panels, that nice framework around there, all in plastic. This is all plastic construction except the wheels. Again, this coach also is 17 inches long from coupler tip to coupler tip, thereabouts. And then you've got the black bumper, a couple of buffers, utility hook. So basically the same thing. So let's take a look at the bottom. We don't need to look at the top because it's exactly like the other coach. So let's take a quick look at the bottom. I'm sure it's the same, but it's got that unique part number there. So let's just take a quick look at the bottom. Yeah, I don't know how well you're going to see this. It's pretty dark. The whole undercarriage here is obviously black, so I'm not sure. The Bachmann logo and the part numbers is stamped in that plastic, which is black, so I don't know how visible it's going to be. But again, same look here. You've got the nice wheels. These the middle set of wheels doesn't have the rim to them, so that little flare there. So they just rest right on the track. Didn't notice that detail before. And then you've got that white pinstriping as well. So yeah. Okay, so as we set the car down here, I called that part of the wheel the flare, but the word I was looking for was flange. That's the part that sits inside the track, and those middle wheels does not have a flange, which is cool. So anyway, let's give it one final turn. All right, there you have it. Emily's coach and Emily's brake coach. Next up is Emily's tender. So Emily's tender, again, following that paint scheme through, it's got that nice, beautiful green, and it's got 3 blocks or 3 squares of yellow pinstriping there, and it's got this nice brass handle on the side. And the other distinguishing feature here is this nice rail, 3-rail system that goes all the way around 3 sides of the tender and then angles down. This is the engine side over here, so it angles down for access. So it's a 3-wheel tender, and the wheels are constructed of metal, and it's got this this black kind of framing on the side here, like plate would be steel plate siding here. Of course, it's plastic here, but we've got some nice bolt and rivet detail in there, which is cool. And then you've got the suspension, which is just kind of molded into that whole piece of plastic right here. So there's some truck detail down there again, like the suspension, the leaf springs, and things like that. On top of this black plating, you've got this brown, kind of running deck here that the tender will sit on, or this top part of the tender will sit on. So that's an interesting color choice. That carries over onto Emily too, as you'll see. But yeah, nice looking tender. You might be able to see the coal load there from the top, but definitely when we do the top view, you'll be able to see that. So yeah, let's give it a turn. So this is the front of the tender. So this is the part that hooks up to Emily. So you can see here that brown decking kind of makes a turn right down toward the track here. And then there's this opening here with a post that is what will hook up to Emily, the locomotive, when you go to connect these two together. And then here, you've got a nice detail here on the tender where the side wall kind of curves out on both sides. That's kind of nice. And then you've got this little square feature here, little raised feature there. So I think you can see it from this angle, but you've got your coal load in here, which is nice. It's got that kind of glistening type of look there where it looks like individual pieces of coal. So that's a nice, again, nice detail. Yeah, looks pretty good. Let's give it a turn. This side of the tender is the exact same as the opposite side. So again, you've got that kind of black plating down here with the suspension, leaf springs, metal wheels, and you've got that nice brown decking here. And then the green tender body itself with the brass hand railing, brass painted hand railing, and then you've got the yellow, yellow pinstriping on the side of the tender body. It's a great paint scheme, I think. Let's give it a turn. And finally, the back end. So this is the end that will hook up to your rolling stock here. You got your hook and loop coupler. The paint scheme here is pretty nice here. You've got a red bumper with black. You might have seen it from the side. I'm not sure if you can see it from this angle or not, but you get the black buffer post, but you've got the silver painted buffer pads here, and then you've got the black utility hook, and then that transitions up into the brown decking right here, and then up into the green body of the tender itself. And then you've got that nice triple railing view here from the front, kind of wrapping around. So yeah, this is a nice looking tender with a lot of features. For the price point, I think this is probably one of the better looking G-scale Thomas the Tank Engine Universe tender loco combos out there, I think. So let's give it one more final turn. And we're back where we started. Okay, so let's take a look at the top. So on the top here, you can see that you've got your coal load down here, probably for a little over halfway down, maybe to 2/3, not quite to 2/3. But you can see that nice, this is just a molded plastic, but you can see kind of the glistening sides of it kind of gives it that, that chunk coal feel and look to the coal load. And then over here, you've got your water tank. You get that raised feature there for the water tank. That little white thing you're seeing there, that is not a problem with the paint. That is just a little piece of the styrofoam that came off of the packaging. So yeah, then you can see the top of the decking there too, from the top. Very nice. All right, let's take a look at the bottom. Okay, so looking from the bottom here, again, you got your 3 wheels here, and just like the coaches, you've got your flange on the front wheels and the rear wheels, but no flange on the center wheels. Those just kind of glide along the track, probably just there for some kind of support or support the weight of the tender, but yeah, so that's kind of an interesting configuration. I really like it. And then back here, this is the post here for the engine side of the tender. And then you've got your hook and loop coupler on this end with your centering spring there for your rolling stock end of the tender. And then you can see in profile here the buffer, silver buffer pad, black post as it transitions into that red bumper that you saw from behind. And then you've got your Bachmann logoing here stamped into the black plastic, probably very difficult to see. And then you've got your white part number there stamped on the bottom. Okay, let's give it one more turn. And there you have it, Emily's tender. Okay, so we always save the best for last, and here is Emily the locomotive. What a fine looking locomotive it is too. So Emily is based off of the Great Northern Railway 1003 class Stirling single 422. So where we get the designation for 422 is, this is just a standard classification for all steam locomotives, but we have here 4 forward wheels or leading wheels here. So there's 2 on each side. Then we have 2 drive wheels, 1 on each side, and we have 2 trailing wheels, 1 on each side. So we have 4, 2, 2. And that's how the designation goes. As far as personality goes, Emily's one of the good guys. She can be a little bossy, but she's always willing to help out an engine in trouble. As a matter of fact, she earned her 2 coaches by helping out Oliver. So the Stirling single was a locomotive that was designed for express passenger work, and its most distinguishing feature is that big center wheel right in the center there, that drive wheel. And that drive wheel is 8 feet 1 inch tall, which gave the locomotive the nickname 8-footer. The locomotive was designed by Patrick Stirling, and they were built at the Doncaster Works. There were 53 produced from 1870 to 1895. The ones that were built in 1870 started being withdrawn from service in 1899, and all were withdrawn from service by 1916. So let's take a detailed look at Emily. So Emily's paint scheme carries over from what we saw on the tender. We have this nice brown running deck here that follows the contour of the wheel, which is a nice detail, right up to the front of the boiler, then carries under to where the piston is, and then right up front here. So that's a pretty nice looking detail there. The wheels are metal all around, and you see they've got the drive arms here that run into, again, the piston here. And then you've got those metal forward wheels, and the spokes are painted in green. So the wheels themselves are kind of bare metal, and then the green spokes. It's a really nice looking paint job. Then you've got these black stairs or ladder work here to get up into the cab. And you've got this brass hand railing work here, and then that yellow pinstriping carries all around on several components here, from the cab to the side of the boiler to this kind of wheel flare or fender here, for lack of a better term, and then right up front. And then as we go across the boiler here, you can see this brass work here, some piping work across the kind of near the top of the boiler here, a little steam dome here, a whistle feature, and then you've got the front of the boiler here in black, and then you've got your chimney or funnel, however you say it, or what you refer to it as. And then you've got this kind of gray decking up here. You'll see it better from the top view, and then this kind of metal support bracing structure here that's part of the frame. Yeah, so it's a very, very nice looking engine, very unique looking engine. So let's give it a turn. Okay, so looking here from behind, there's not a ton of detail here. There's just kind of a hint of the cab interior here, like where the boiler would end and all of your valves and your firebox and things like that would be. So I always kind of appreciate that little circular thing there. There's no detail, but it does give you that hint of the interior of a cab. You can see maybe from this angle here, we'll see them more from the front, but there's some porthole windows facing forward. You get that brown decking that carries here into the floor of the cab here. Then those that ladder or step work here, kind of on the side, reaching down here. You can see the wheels from the rear, and then you get this tongue with the hole in it, and that is for the post on the tender to connect the tender to the engine or the locomotive. So let's continue to turn. So this side here is the exact same as the opposite side. You've got the same paint scheme here. There's really not too much different. So there's not too much new to say here. But yeah, good looking engine. Let's keep turning. And then finally looking from the front here. You got the money shot here, of course, with the Thomas the Tank Engine Universe locomotives. You got the face, which is always nice to see. Emily's got a nice big smile. And then you can see kind of this nice kind of curving shape here of the front of Emily's boiler, where it kind of comes up and curves over the boiler, then down around those pistons. It's a nice look. And then you've got this brass trim around the top of the chimney or funnel. And then you've got here this very extensive decking that comes out comes out front there and is joined by this metal bracing here. And then you've got a nice red bumper, and the bumper posts or the buffer posts are painted in red here, but they've got the silver painted buffer pads, utility hook, and that hook and loop coupler out front. And then if you can see further back in the cab, you've got the steam dome sticking up here. Or maybe you can't see that behind the chimney, but you can definitely see these porthole windows out at the front of the cab. Nice little feature there. Let's give a little 3/4 view there, so you might be able to see some additional details from this angle. But yeah, good. All right, let's bring it around full circle. All right, let's take a look at the top. So we'll take a quick look at the top here. This is actually quite awkward to hold with the wheels are on kind of pivots, and they're just kind of hanging down. So we just want to go through this real quick. But you can see the top of the roof here. It's kind of a shallow cab. Steam dome there from the top, steam whistle, and then you can see that piping work, and then this brass strapping that goes across the boiler, and that brown decking up there that goes along the side, and then those wheel flares or wheel fenders there from the top. And then you can see here how big that gray deck is that reaches out in front of Emily's face. And then all the front details and profile there, the buffers, utility hook, nice front coupler there. It's always good to have a front coupler. So yeah, so there's a good look at the top. Okay, so looking at it from the bottom, there's not so much like kind of modeling detail that goes into the detail of what the engine would look like, but there is, you can see here the engine housing here. You can see some of that plastic, that brown fender work there over the wheels from below. You've got the Bachmann stamping there, and of course you got a lot of access screws here so that you can separate the various pieces for repair if you need to. And then you've got the rear wheels, the trailing wheels there. They got a little pivot point that's up under the housing here. And then of the four, the two pairs of wheels up front, two of them are fixed, and then the front two wheels are on a pivot point right here. And then you've got a good look here at the connecting arms around the wheels. And then a couple final details here. There's a little polarity switch right here. You might be able to see it if we get the light right and the angle right. And then what looks like a little speaker setup here. You've got what looks like, the type of feature here that looks like there would be a speaker hidden up there. I don't think this has sound. I'm almost 100% certain it doesn't have sound. But that makes me curious as to whether you can add sound to this. We don't know the answer to that question right here and now, but we'll certainly look into it. And then if I didn't mention it, you've got your Bachmann logo stamping there. So yeah, just to give you a look at the bottom and see what that looks like. Okay, let's give Emily one more spin. All right, so one final look at Emily, hooked up to the tender. Emily's really pushing the limits of the size of our table here, so, but we did want to give you a look here. Okay, so there you have it. There is the whole setup there. We have Emily, Emily's tender, Emily's coach, and Emily's brake coach. Can't wait to get it out on the layout and take it for a test.